Ahoy there folks, I'm Captain Benzie and welcome back to another developer Q&A video for Eve Echoes. Each week the developers take a series of questions posed by you, the community, they respond to those questions and then I kind of respond to the responses. It gives me an interesting opportunity to talk about the game design of Eve Echoes, what would be good for the game, what would be bad for the game, and talk about the general mentality and state of Eve Echoes as it currently stands. Now I do apologise for today's video being late. Obviously I get sent the developer Q&A on a Friday morning, I then record it during the day, upload it and post it on a Friday evening. Now this Friday I had my parents across to Zimbabwe from the UK. We went off to Wangi National Park, we saw some really cool wildlife, had a really nice day, but that did of course mean I was not able to record the dev Q&A early on Friday enough to actually get it uploaded for release that evening. Also here at Masuna we are having the worst internet you can imagine. In fact, the last video that I uploaded, which was the patch notes for Eve Echoes, took about 9 hours to upload. Yeah, so you're going to have to bear with me on this one, or rather, you have borne with me on this one, so thank you very much. I also apologise, I've got two very hyper cats running around the room. They are prone to meowing, hissing, spitting at each other, and possibly knocking over the microphone. Anyway, that is entirely too long an intro, so let's jump right into the developer Q&A for the week of the 9th to the 15th of May. The running theme of this one is that if the developers don't know their own game, then the players can sometimes be even worse. Brace yourselves, there are some real stupids on display today, and I'm not going to apologise for that. This game's been out for 3 years, and if you want to kind of do the whole, oh, you need to do this, and you're going to suggest something brain dead and inane, I'm going to call that out. Because there's enough background history for this game now to actually form that, and I'm not just giving an opinion anymore, I'm giving certifiable fact because I have empirical evidence to back it up. Anyway, question number 1 then. When will the release of implant dedicated for exploration type role? We have implants for PvP, PvE and mining, but there's no implants that really improve our scanning those data and relic sites. This is the exact reason why NetEase are able to make Eve Echoes a ridiculous pay-to-win nightmare, because absolute mouth-breathing morons like this ask for ways to spend money in the game. Forgive me, I get where you're coming from here. You're looking over the fence at the PvP, PvE and miners and going, oh, they get an implant, why don't I get an implant? Rather than asking the question, why does anyone need a frickin' implant? Like, that crap is just... it's extraneous. If implants didn't exist, no one would need them. The concept of implants was to make the gameplay more interesting. The most interesting implant there is probably something like Barrage or the thermo-heating one for railguns, where you press the button and then you do the thing and then you press the button again. Wow, much interesting, right? No, they're freaking awful. They were a dumbass, pathetic, low-effort way to get morons separated from their money. And it's worked. It's worked, and not only has it worked in separating morons from their money, it's then forced the non-morons to separate with their money in order to get those implants fully upgraded, in order to compete with the morons. Then it's also got additional morons to come in and go, oh, why don't I get an implant? Why do you need an implant? Why did implants even have to exist like this? They didn't, they don't. It is a choice by NetEase to separate you from your money. The only people I feel sorry for in this situation are the folks who've had to grind or spend to get an implant because otherwise they feel like they can't compete with everyone else who has spent the money. And that is freaking ridiculous in regards to Eve, a game that is supposed to be a player-driven sandbox. That no, you have to spend money. They are gatekeeping the freaking sandbox. Some people are able to buy more sand. Like... it's ridiculous. But the more that people ask, when do I get my implant, the more of this crap that gets shoveled into the game we're going to have, right? Stop asking. Stop asking for a freaking mining implant for exploration, and instead ask that they fix the freaking sites. And don't come at me and say, but hang on, Benzie, they just reduced, they doubled the respawn rate. Yeah, they did, which fixes nothing. It doesn't fix the problem, it just reduces the duration where the problem is a thing. Exploration is in a bad place. It is not in a better place, courtesy of this balance patch. And I should know, I've been playing on H+ signal and still going around and scanning sites and still finding freaking nothing, because there is just nothing to find. The downside of this is that with 100% faster respawning sites now, the loot is worth less than it was before because there's more of it on the market. Congratulations, NetEase. I literally gave you the blueprint for how to fix exploration. You ignored it to go your own route, and once again, you made things worse. Now, Cloud responds, because we will actually get to the response to this question. While we understand the desire for such implants, our current focus is on optimizing the basic scanning experience, which you should have done 3 years ago by adding the hacking minigame, making exploration something that actually was fun to do, making it so that the sites spawn properly so that there is always content available for people, and you know what? By adding counterplay to the red scanners. I like the red scanners, I use the red scanners, but the fact that there's no counterplay to them is freaking dumb. Anyway, once this is completed, says Cloud, we will then start to plan on the related modules and implants. Thank you for your interest in supporting the game. Again, rather than asking for dumbass implants, why don't we ask them to fix the freaking content? If you're sitting there saying, well, implants made this stuff, other stuff more interesting, did it? Did it really? Honestly, did implants honestly revolutionize the game? No, they didn't. They revolutionized the amount that new players have to spend in order to keep up with everyone else. But there we go. Rather than sitting there saying, well, why can't I have something like that? Ask why that needs to exist in the first place. Make the game fun without you needing to swipe daddy's credit card. Question number 2, we've got 5 of these by the way. Would you ever consider limiting the max camera zoom out to a ship's class or range? As if frigate pilots haven't suffered enough, now you want to make it so we can't zoom out further. God damn. For example, only capitals and command ships can zoom out to view the whole grid. All the other ships' camera zoom is double their optimal plus fall-off distance, which is freaking stupid. Okay, cool, so now I've got a ship that is using autocannons, for example. Autocannons that maybe have, say, 2 kilometer optimal range and a 15 kilometer fallout. According to this idea of double the optimal plus fall-off, what I have there is a 4 kilometer optimal, so 2 kilometer optimal, 4 kilometers in total, plus then 15 kilometers fall-off, that's 19 kilometers. Whereas the actual range that I can hit at is double fall-off, which is 30 plus the 2 to start with, 32. I'm limited to 19 kilometers of view, but I can fire out to 30. Like, genuinely, do you idiots even think before you type your bloody questions at this point? Dev Q&A space wasted by people who have no clue what they are suggesting for the game. What you are saying here is, once again, frigates should be left out. That frigate pilots are going to be stuck behind everyone else because you want your big-ass bloody ship to compensate for your tiny micro-penis. And just... no, will you... seriously, stop and pause for a second and just go, right, okay, how might this idea that I've got... I get it, look, if you're watching this video, you're sitting there and saying to yourself, I thought this was a really cool idea, why is Benzie shouting at me? I don't mean to. I'm going to calm down. I'm tired. I'm also not accusing you of having a micro-penis, I'm accusing everyone who thinks that capitals must be the biggest thing because they want to compensate with bigger equals better, right? Anyway, why? I thought this was a cool idea, Benzie. Why are you shouting at me? Because your cool idea, yeah, you know what? I think having different ranges to things is cool, right? But range of information shouldn't be one of those things. The reason I get angry at stuff like this is because all it would take is for the person suggesting it to pause for literally 2 to 3 minutes. And just run some scenarios through their head. How would this affect combat? Well, it would mean that the frigate pilots actually aren't able to see all that far. Okay, so when a frigate lands on grid, how does it find a capital ship? Yeah, exactly. When the FC says, hey, you there in the tackle frigate, I need you to tackle this ship, is it within your fall-off plus twice optimal? No, sir, but my cannons fire further than that, because of course they do. So no, you've got something here that falls apart at the very first hurdle. Literally, the first thing I would say is, right, okay, so how does a frigate tackle something that it can't see? You just double tap in space and hope that you're going in the right direction? The thing is, this is actually based off a really interesting point that we should come to in a second, but let's go into here. So all other ships can resume is double their optimal plus fall off, which is freaking awful and stupid. This would improve the scale of ships, feel of combat, and add tactical choices for fleet commanders. No, it wouldn't. It would just mean everyone uses a freaking capital, because it's god-awful to fly anything smaller, because you can't see the entire freaking battlefield. It is purely capital dick-waving, nothing else. Thank you for your suggestion, says Cloud. While we appreciate your idea, the development team has not considered implementing such limitations, as many players have already become accustomed to the current setting. We value your input and appreciate your continued support of the game. Now, the one thing that should be a faction here isn't your view, your overview and stuff like that. It should be the lock range of your ships. This is a thing in EVE Online, and I know EVE Echoes isn't EVE Online. Like, please, you don't have to tell me that in the comment section down below. What you do need to understand is that lock range is in EVE Online for a reason. Because the second that you give every ship the capability to snipe, every ship will do that. Because sniping is safe. So if you want to force ships to engage, you suddenly want to shorten the range at which they can lock onto things. Therefore, you now create fitting versatility. Beyond this, it also makes sensor dampeners remarkably useful, because when you can reduce someone's locking range, it suddenly means they're not in range to lock you anymore. They lose their lock and they've got to lock back on, and oh, the sensor dampeners make them take longer to lock on. How cool is that, right? It's actual counterplay and gameplay, something interesting and something that EVE Echoes is completely lacking. That said, I am so glad that Cloud basically shoots this idea down, although it does come with the disappointing, we won't do something that upsets people who have already become accustomed to the current setting. That argument could be made that, oh no, this thing's ridiculously overpowered. Cloud, could you please nerf it? Oh no, that's not fair to the people who've become accustomed to it. Terrible design thinking here. Cloud, I know you're trying to appease everyone, but seriously, it doesn't work like that. That's just not how things work. And my cat is now meowing at me, because of course he is. Anyway, yeah, dumbass idea, thank God they're ignoring it, but I hate the fact that they're ignoring it for really terrible reasons. But you know what, a win's a win. Question number 3, disable the return of drones after the destruction of the target. Yeah, this should be a thing. I actually agree with this. I dislike how the question, in inverted commas, question is asked here. It's not a question, it's a suggestion. It's actually a demand more than even a suggestion. But disabling the return of drones after the destruction of a target makes sense. The fact that when you shoot a target, the drones have to fly all the way back to your ship, only to fly off to the next ship, is freaking stupid. Again, in EVE Online, you can literally have your drones move from target to target, and it's a really interesting mechanic because it does have downsides. Because if you want to change it to something else, suddenly you've got to pull your drones back and then send them to the next thing, or, at least send them to the next thing, not necessarily do a full return. But again, obviously, EVE Online is also a game that's far more hostile to drones. Drones are shot at by NPCs. NPCs will web and shoot your drones. You don't obviously get that in EVE Echoes, but yeah, absolutely this should be a thing. Drones should automatically seek their next target because they are drones, they are AIs. They should not, at the very least, have to come all the way back to your ship. That said, there is a workaround for this. There is a workaround, and that's that if you're in a ship that does any form of split damage, the second you're about to kill a target, you press the attack button, tap on it, attack all, or whatever it's called, and suddenly your drones will all move to that target without having to fly back to your ship first. Oh, would you look at that? Tapping twice. Tapping 2 buttons. Tap the ship. Tap, fire with all or whatever. 2 taps. 2 taps and you avoid all of this. Yeah, that's awful. Absolutely awful that people, require that you hold their hand that much in this game. But there we go. Yes, the drone AI should do it automatically. That said, is it really a huge issue to tap twice per ship? Oh my goodness, I have to play the game. Yeah, again, you know what? If you don't enjoy playing this game, play something else. It's really that simple. If you're not enjoying playing, play something else. Games are meant to be fun. We fully understand that the drone AI still needs further optimization, as it has done for 3 years, and you guys have done nothing about it, despite announcing on several occasions it's what you're working on, and we will take your suggestion into consideration. However, at the moment, we need to prioritize other more important optimizations of the drone AI. What more important optimizations of drone AI are there other than shoot at something? We will continuously work on improving the game experience for our players. Thank you for understanding and support. I wish I could believe that. Question number 4. Much of the recent gameplay that has been released has been possible to be played in low and high sec. Oh no, stuff that's possible to play in low and high sec. Whatever will you do if you're MJD and living in null sec and think you're the biggest goddamn, person on this game? Awesome. Yeah, okay, so it can be played in low and high sec. Is content being considered for release that is null-sec exclusive to offer incentive for players to be in null? Yeah, because, we've not had things like fleet rally points or special fleet rally points. We haven't had corporation citadels, and literally this week all of the new structures for corporation citadels. Oh, but technically you can anchor those in low sec. Yeah, but no one does. And corporation citadels you can't. You can put capture layer outposts in low sec, but corporation citadels can only be in null sec, right? So, isn't that all nullsec exclusive gameplay? Yeah, it is. And if you're complaining that there's a load of stuff going on in lowsec, I would challenge you to actually fly through lowsec once every now and then, because 99% of this entire game, if you are to exclude nullsec, highsec and lowsec, Empire space, 99% of Empire space is completely empty. Basically, everyone is in a handful of systems, and then there's a load of loading screens between them. That's literally how this game works right now. So when you come to me that, it's been possible to be played in lowsec, yeah, it's possible, no one's doing it. To that end and that extent as well, you could even argue that the new gas mining, God, I hate even calling it that. It's not gas mining, they're just asteroids that have a different graphic to them. You shoot them the same, you lock them the same, they use the ore hold the same, they are literally just asteroids. But if you take a look at that, for example, that's 0.4 or lower, right? No one's going to do it in lowsec because everyone is terrified of lowsec. All the people who are remotely okay with taking risks are already in nullsec. If you're not in nullsec, it's because you are a risk-averse fraidy cat, basically, living in highsec. That's how it is. And yeah, I know that there are some people who might take umbrage to that. Like, there are some good players, some genuinely good players who don't like that risk, and that's fine. But it is what it is. Anyway, so is content being considered for release that's nullsec exclusive to offer incentive for players to be in null? What incentive is there to be in null? Oh, I don't know. The ability to use capital ships, most of the most lucrative content, just it's not 100% safe. PvP, wars, if you want to have your own citadel and all this kind of thing, that's all nullsec exclusive. There's tons of nullsec exclusive content. Lowsec is the place that needs content, right? But hey there, thanks for your question about gameplay content in nullsec totally existing human. We're excited to let you know that some new events in nullsec will be coming out soon, totally existing human. It'll give players like you, totally existing human, a chance to take on some unique challenges in nullsec. Hope you like it, and thanks for playing totally real and existing human. No, I don't buy that. I don't buy that that's an actual question. That is literally something that's been typed in there by the developers in order to be able to say, hey look, we're doing more things. Yeah, more things. Awesome. Stop doing more things and go back and fix the things that already don't work. Question 5. Will you please introduce new background musics in EVE Echoes according to the situation? For example, the OST from EVE Online plays when flying around in space normally, different metal rock music plays when fighting in cosmic anomalies, which is different for different sectors of space. Music enhances gameplay experience, please do consider this. Yeah, I've said this many times, we do need more sound design in EVE Echoes, more stuff going on with the soundscape, with the music. I get so sick of hearing that same bloody combat music over and over and over again, whereas there are some absolute belters of tracks in the EVE Online soundtrack that just, obviously, we don't get featured in here, but hey. A great idea, says Jamie So. Actually, we're preparing to introduce new music into EVE Echoes, including various styles of music that will change according to different scenarios. However, due to some practical situations, we need to prioritise some more important updates. Despite this, we still believe we can have music iteration in the near future. Stay tuned. When they say more important updates, what they mean is we haven't yet found a way to monetize adding the music in. And since we kind of just made the first big step forwards in ages, when we finally realised that our biggest paying community was highsec players, and the big product that we wanted to push was capitals, and the Venn diagram of those was two separate circles. Now we've turned the Venn diagram of those two things into a pizza, and everyone loves pizza, right? Hey. that's this week's Dev Q&A. I'm not really sure what else to add to that, other than this is how the game is at its point. Basically, NetEase became a money-grubbing company back when nanocores first came out. They broke every single rule that they had promised us up until that point. They turned their back on the community and just decided that instead of a game, this was going to be another way to harvest as much money as quickly as possible from as many players as they could before it died. Yeah, we love a game that ultimately NetEase have already put a sell-by date on. Make of that what you will. But the reason they get away with that is because idiots keep asking for more of it, and they ask for ways to break the game because they don't understand how the game works. Like, genuinely. If you're going to ask a question to the devs, please think about it for more than 5 minutes. Cool, you get some cool ideas. Everyone has cool ideas, and some of those cool ideas end up being really awesome features. But just stop and try and run it through your head a couple of times first, and just say, how would this impact the game? And if it's actually, oh god, that would make things awful, don't put it in a dev Q&A just to get Benzie angry. Anyway, folks, thank you for watching this one right the way through to the end. Sorry if it's been a bit ranty. If you're a bit more family-friendly and you don't like the fact that I said micro-penis 4 times through this video, I do apologise, but there we are. I'm just going to say it one more time to make it a nice round 5. Micro-penis. Hope you enjoyed, happy sailing, and see you in New Eden.